So this story that we're looking at really starts here in the soil. If you look at this soil is really alive, you know. There are millions of microorganisms, molds, bacteria, insects, earthworms, fungi, small animals, the mycelium, which is considered to be the network through which all the plants are communicating. Now they talk about trees communicating as though trees are the only sentient being, but what about all these little weeds? And I think all of nature is communicating. So you see the life in the soil, that is the fertility of the soil. Fertility is not a concept, it's not an abstraction, it's something physical. Because the life in the soil makes for the porosity of the soil. Porosity makes for higher water retention, and it makes for, the water is the vehicle through which the nutrition is passed through the soil. So you see, fertility really is something real, and it's because of how much life you have in the soil, and that reflects in taste. Many people come in and go, oh, papaya, no, I don't like papaya, because they never had papaya that was harvested when it's ripe, and when it's grown with the soil like this, the taste is so exquisite, you know. It's completely different from what you find in a shop. So how do you get this healthy soil? Well, in nature it's kind of straightforward, you know. These leaves, they fall from a tree and they rot and they become, you know, accessible nutrition for the plants. And that is the first step on this road back to nature, to value organic matter. The organic matter is our bioresource. That bioresource means every leaf, every branch, every weed, every grass, all of that organic matter is our profit. It's not a financial profit, it's a nutritional profit. When you return it back to the soil, that is Mother Nature. That's like, you can say in India, Shakti, you know, it's the vibrancy of this country starts here. All culture and all beauty of Ayurveda and everything emerges from healthy soil. It doesn't emerge from Facebook, you know, or some PhD. It emerges from something very tangible, and that's the life in the soil. So once we have that healthy soil, nature starts to give us a lot of gifts, and to value those gifts, we implement some ideas from permaculture. Permaculture is a huge subject involving social permaculture, you know, water management, natural building techniques, alternative energy. But if you just look in the fields, you can see that there are a lot of different crops, and these crops are mixed together due to two basic perimeters. The first perimeter is their physiological difference. You know, you look around you, there's tall plants, there's root crops, there's carpet crops, there's shrubs, all sorts of different physiology. And that's the first technique that you use to mix the crops together. The second is the time duration. So of course, if we were going to start a farm tomorrow, the first thing we plant is fruit trees. That's the long duration. Then you have the medium duration, papayas, bananas, tapioca, the turmeric, haldi, pineapples, and drumstick and agati spinach. All these plants that last a year, 2 years, 3 years. They're your sort of intermediary sort of infrastructure. Then you have your annuals, your cucumber, lady's finger, tomato, and all of that. And then you have your spinaches. The spinaches don't need to go through a reproductive cycle. So they're very, very fast, you know, within, you know, 3-4 weeks, check, you cut them out. And then what you get, and that's the really interesting thing, and that's what I want to share with you specifically, is you have the volunteer plants. So the volunteer plants, they're really the colors of the culture. You know, if you talk to Tamils about, you know, Moratakan and Tuduvale and the Nanari and the Varatand and this and that, you see those are the plants which are really interesting. They have the particular characteristics of volunteer plants. They tick all the things of local foods, you know. They come up on their own, so you didn't even grow them, and they have very high medicinal value. And yet you don't find them in shops, you know, they're completely undervalued. So the first one to show you is this one here, which in Latin, it's called Talinium triangulare. I don't know if anyone likes to try it, please, and you can also help yourself. It's with the little pink flower there. So this little plant grows like this, look. You take the plant and you plug it in the ground like that, and it grows. So, you know, that doesn't make me a big expert. This is something that anyone knows. This is a cultural heritage. This plant is good for cognitive ability. It's good for asthma. It's good for pregnancy. It's even good for men's virility. I mean, this guy does the works, you know. And it's super easy to grow. We have a smoothie with it, the green smoothie. We have a green ice cream. Every day there's a sort of a chutney pesto with it. There's vegetable dishes with it, soups with it. It's very glutinous, you know, sticky. So we mix it with ragi, which doesn't bind, and then we can make chapatis with it. It's such a versatile plant. We have salads. You can even make kimchi with the stem. It's so easy, so wonderful to use. You please find me one restaurant serving this. It grows outside every house. It grows outside every school, outside every office, outside every hospital. It grows everywhere. It's a gift. It's a benediction of Mother Nature. But it doesn't come into our nutritional consciousness. It's in Latin, it's called Talinum triangulare. Locally, we call it korikere. And in Chennai, they call it basilikere. You're familiar?
Yes.
Yeah, basilikere that's so long. But locally, we'll call it korikere. The Latin is very good because in the Latin you can really you can find all the PDFs about it, you know. Talinum triangulare. It's from the purslane family. You know, purslane is such a huge family. So while we do this tour, let's make it practical, okay? Imagine you're a local farmer. This is growing everywhere in your fields. You can take a few bundles to the market, but actually you probably spend more money on your petrol getting it there than you will to get actually to sell it. So it has no value to you anymore. And because the consciousness of everyone is like that, even you don't use it in your family. So imagine we start to value the plants, not for the economic gain, but for their nutritional values. And we start to use that. And then that farmer is encouraged by his society to supply local schools for there's a midday meal scheme government has in all schools in India, free lunch, midday meal. So imagine that local farmer, he supplies, you know, 3, 4, 5 schools with this, and one meal a week, one element of that meal is with this. So the farmer has provided something with very high medicinal nutritional value, that is using less water, that directly relates to a culture, that has no ecological cost. And actually, then the kids who've lost this relationship completely, because the ladies in our cafe, they know this much. Their parents know this much, but their kids know nothing. You know, so where there's this profound, you know, lack of relationship, all of a sudden we start to heal that by giving them the opportunity to eat it. So the farmer then becomes a custodian of a culture. And he also gets economic gain because maybe government is supporting this project. They say, well, we're going to stop subsidies for chemical. We'll support that farmer because he has a cultural, nutritional heritage that we want him to value. So all the things we look at, we'll look at in that light, in the light of a project like that. Okay, we can go this way. As I say, there's so many things to value that we're not valuing, and one of them is the tamarind leaves. When they're very tender, like this, you see, when they're light color, not when they're dark green, they're really nice to eat. And in Tamil cuisine, and I think in Andhra and some other places, they put it in the sambar. It makes for a very nice, what we say, pulipparaka. You know, it makes it a little sour. And it's very good for reverse diabetes. We make a whole selection of Ayurvedic powders, and one of them is the tamarind leaf. And it's like, if you go on the internet, you read about it. Many of these leaves are for reversing diabetes. Behind you here, that's the palm fruit. So the palm tree is really the state tree of Tamil Nadu. It has so many uses. And when it's a fruit, which is actually, now it's a little old, it's hardly being valued anymore. There's a stage of it when it's still a vegetable called a nungu, and that's valued still. It's like the inside of a coconut. It's like very soft and mucousy. That's still valued. But when it's a fruit, from Kanyakumari to Gujarat, you can find it, but it's not being used. What we do is we boil it, make a juice, add some lemon, and it's an incredible juice. You can also grate it and make it into dosas and different sweets, and you can even just eat it like that. But the point is to eat it. Now it's too old to eat. So what we do is we plant these seeds. That's the fruit is around. It'll dry off, and we plant it very, very tight in a bed, and then we get a root. It's called the Permaculture, which is the palm root. Yeah, it becomes like, this is quite old one, so we wouldn't eat that one. But you leave them for 3 or 4 months, and you pull them up and you steam them, and they're very, very tasty. In fact, every single house in every single village did this, everywhere. And now what do you see? You see a little old lady in the bus stand, you know, will you buy my Permaculture, 10 rupees? You know, and you feel like, shit, man, the culture is not valued anymore. Like this plant here, this is called the Tuduvale. So the Tuduvale is, you know, it's really one serious plant in Tamil culture. And if you go in Ayurveda and Siddha medicine, it's highly valued for respiratory diseases. Yesterday in the cafe, and if anyone was here, there was a rasam with this in it. And the people come, foreigners, North Indians, Tamils, and they eat that rasam. They all go, ooh, wow, wow, what's that? That's Tuduvale. It's a weed. It grows everywhere. It's very important in Ayurveda, and it's very tasty. And you start to understand, oh, those tastes, those qualities, they are the values of the plant, you know. They are the values. It's reflected in a taste. Underneath here is another beautiful plant. This is called devil's backbone in English. In Tamil we call it pirandai. This is very good for calcium. It's good for your bones. It's good for, you know, healing of bones and stuff. And again, it tastes extraordinary. You make a chutney with it. You smash it, and you you know, you grind it on the ammi and this and that, and you make this really delicious chutney. And you start to see, wow, the colors of my food are having no impact on the environment. The colors of my food are all around me. All I have to do is work on sharing that with people. So the second step on the road back to nature is to value these produce, is to value these plants. And the third step is to share them, is to create community around it. You see, as an individual, you know, you're very limited. As an individual, you buy everything, you know, with a coin, and we're kind of stuck. But as a collective, when we have community, see, in a shop, I can't get you to get this. People don't want it in a shop. People don't want the green papaya in a shop. But if I can create community, I can get you, I can tell you, this is good value. Look, this is how you do it. This is how you use it. Come and eat. Come and do this. We'll have a music night, and everyone will cook together, and, you know, creating community. Celebrating together, you know. I would say music and art and culture is like an adhesive that brings people together. That's why we do a lot of events here and festivals. You know, without that, without celebration, you cannot understand local food. Without valuing a local language, you can't understand local food. You know, because all of this emerged from here, like one big tree. So you have to honor the language and celebration and community and education, music, all of that is integral to this subject. Okay, we can just walk around this way. As though I know something, but someone told it to me and I kind of just about remember. But it's a type of yam, and these yams were really important in Tamil Nadu previously because they just keep coming up on their own. The French, when the French were running Pondi back in the day, they used to call it Pondicherry potato. And it's this particular one looks like some sort of like alien root, you know, it's like got a very random form, and it gets very dry, and you cut off slices of it and you sort of fry it, and it's very, very delicious. It's a very nice plant. You know, so this yam is highly valued. Growing underneath it is a lot of sweet potato in all these beds. So the sweet potato leaf is also highly valued. It got a lot of protein in it. It's well known in Asia, you know, like Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia. Well known, less known here. But you put it in a salad, in a stir fry, in a chutney, it's super good. And here is the drumstick, the moringa. As I say, that's available, you know, it's everywhere, the drumstick. You break off a stick and you plug it in and it grows. It's too easy. When I see foreigners going in the shop and ready to buy it for 1,000 rupees, I don't know, I feel like to rescue them. But unless they buy it from our shop, of course, then I'm happy they buy it. But, you know, there's no sense to it, you know, it's like here. I show you where it is. You can get it yourself, no problem. But use it. But somehow we lost that capacity to go to a plant and say thank you and take it and cook it. You know, everything is with coin. So the drumstick is the amazing plant. Food really is medicine. This tree here is called soursop or graviola. It's from the custard apple family. It has a very delicious fruit which tastes like a mix of pineapple and guava. It's locally it's known as mulusita or Laxman Fal. You've got Ramfal, Sitafal and Laxman Fal. And with the leaves we make a juice. And it's very, very tasty. It's supposed to be 10,000 times more effective in the cure of cancer than chemotherapy. So it's like, wow. And it's like for hypertension and parasites and this and that.
The leaves.
The leaves, yeah.
The fruit is medicinal, but the leaves are even more medicinal.
The leaves are even more medicinal, right. But actually it's everything. You know, the mango leaf is also medicinal, high in vitamin C, again, anti-diabetes. You got little plants, I saw it on the ground just now. You got little plants like this, you know, this is called the ivy gourd. The ivy gourd is like such a nice little leaf. It's growing as creepers in many places. It tastes like a fresh salad, you know, like a salad like langue de biche, you know, the deer tongue salad. It's like, and you see, wow, there's so many things. This tree here with those fruits, that's the bale fruit tree. So the bale fruit is Wilbaparam. No, it's kind of forgotten. Many people have forgotten the bale fruit tree in India, but it's very integral to India and culture and Ayurveda. It makes a delicious juice, but the leaves are also very good. And it's that which is the thing, to start valuing all these, different components. You see this half-dead guava tree. So on the guava tree, there's a love heart creeper growing. That's called guruchi. Or in Hindi, it's called giloi. That's considered to be an amritam. Amrita is the nectar of immortality. Someone says, here, have the nectar of immortality. You're like, oh, thanks, mate. That's an amazing thing to be offered. But it's a weed. There's only 3 amritams in Ayurveda. I mean, again, I'm repeating things I've read. I haven't studied this as such. But there's many ways to use it. You put the leaves in water overnight and drink the water. We put leaves in the salad. We throw a few leaves in the chutney. You can make a medicine from the stem, but it's very, very powerful plant in Ayurveda. It treats such a, when you get to these type of plants, you see they have a very wide spectrum of use, of treating from cancer to diabetes, inflammations, skin problems, all sorts of things they're treating. Does someone want to try that plant I said tastes like a lettuce?
Yeah.
Especially when they're so tender like this. They're very delicious. Here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Here, pass some over. Pass them around. What are they called? That's the giloi.
The elixir.
The guruchi, the amrita.
Amrita.
Yeah, that's the giloi, yeah.
Amazing.
You can also try the bale fruit leaf as you go by. That's really nice leaf. I love this leaf. I mean, some people don't like it, but I think it's very delicious.
This one?
Yeah, it's a different shape. Yeah, try the leaf.
I'll try a smaller one.
They're always the small, tender ones are going to be a bit more tasty.
Smaller
and that's
one.
the fruit behind you, look. This is the long black pepper.
So you can eat the leaf of the pepper.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's the tudawali as well. So beautiful, this plant.
Gosh, the pepper one's strong.
Yeah, the pepper's awesome.
Whoa.
There's so many things you can eat. I'll give you another leaf. These leaves are really nice. Yeah. This is the wing beans. The wing bean leaves are delicious.
So many flavors.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like an explosion in the mouth.
Yeah. This is the rosella.
Can you eat this one too?
Yeah, this is very nice. You guys at the front of the queue, you get better.
Ooh, citrusy.
Sapota. Chiku.
I like the blue one. It looks really nice.
So you see under this tree here is a creeper. These creepers have grown because last year the plant had climbed on the tree and they dropped seeds here. This is called, if I remember in Latin correctly, Musina purensis, I think. And it's in Sanskrit, they call it makes you itch like a monkey, because apparently if you touch it, it makes you itch like a monkey. But it's also called secret self. It has 4 to 7% dopamine. So you can roast it. You make a coffee with it, quite nice. You know, it's not like this, you know, but it's quite nice. And it's for muscle building. It builds like muscle and tissue, and it's very good for Parkinson's disease, for Alzheimer's disease. It reconnects neurons, like it rebuilds neurons. I mean, this is, if you read it, you'll read a lot of things about it. But it's very, very, you know, highly respected in Ayurveda, especially for male and female reproductive organs and all of those systems. And you know, it's an amazing plant, and it grows. It's not growing without, I mean, now it's growing without effort when it's introduced, but you have to bring it in. But we put it on the fence this year because we recognize that we started to use it a lot, you know. Even the coffee tastes nice. You know, it's something that you go, well, I wouldn't mind drinking that regularly, you know. So it's a plant that dominates the plants, you know, it's a very dominating plant. So we put it on all the fences. I did a video in YouTube, it's my best video. It has more than 100,000 views. I'm like, whoa, good video. And I use it to show how we can make a dense ground cover, how we can practice Fukuoka's technique of non-tillage, no plowing, by making a dense ground cover, sowing the rice into it, rolling it up like a carpet, and underneath there's no weeds, there's just a lot of life, and then shaking it so the rice goes down. You trample the rice into the ground and you roll it back. Within a few days it's dried and the rice comes up. That's how I was using it. So actually it's quite interesting because again you see, oh, I had an idea, and through my idea I was seeing its value only through that way. Not that it was a bad way, it's a good way. But actually there's many other values to it as well. Now we see it as a coffee substitute. So now we start putting on the fence and we don't just use it in the field. And the more we can not have too many ideas, or at least not let those ideas define it, you know, the more we'll understand its value. And the more we can use it in our life, benefit from it. The more that you're allowing things to be, you know, like previously we might say, we cut this out because we want to do this. And now we don't want to do that. We want what comes. We recognize that what comes is surely the best thing for us, you know, even economically. And then things like that happen. Like, look at this bitter gourd. I don't know how that came here. It's so nice, look. It's just growing on this. It's just beautiful. And then there's this guduchi here. Like, we don't have anyone running our food processing at the moment. But if we did, we'd be valuing that guduchi everywhere and drying it and selling it. We make like a lot of money. But we don't have that much aim to do that.
What is guduchi?
This, the amritam.
The
nectar of immortality.
Oh, that's the guduchi
Here,
again.
have a bit of nectar of immortality, darling.
So can you eat it just like that?
Just chuck it down. This is bottle gourd mixed in with rosella and the drumstick and banana and ramphal. And then there's watermelon and there's lady's finger everywhere. There's corn coming up. And then there's custard apples and guavas and chikus and there's soursop. There's some element of control. You know, there's some, like, of course we planted the bottle gourd and the corn and the lady's finger and the banana and the drumstick, but we're trying to like keep adding to this, you know, this tapestry, this landscape, just by adding, and there's tapioca in here. You see the tapioca is here. That will take 10 months to grow. This stuff here. Yeah. So it's throughout the field. That's going to take 10 months. So when you're painting with an idea of the dimension of time as well. Some of these ladies' finger, they're giant Burmese ladies' finger, 4 meters high.
Whoa.
And then there'll be a structure for something else to grow up, you know. So the more that happens spontaneously, naturally, the more, you know, easy it is. Look, there's Turdal coming up through here, which will be a huge bush. With the corn, the lady's finger here, and the rosella. There's very beautiful It's very beautiful farming, and what we've done is we've made sure it stayed wet when it was too dry in the summer, and we've done some weeding, and of course we've gone and planted. Without a healthy soil, there's no foundation for well-being. So the first step is really to honor organic matter and return it to the soil in copious amounts. Then which technique you use is depending on your topography, climate, geography, demographics. You know, those are all, it's not about techniques, it's about making sure you find the way to get the organic matter back to the ground in the most simple way. And you know, when you start to get that sort of equilibrium of nutrition in the soil, then you get like really healthy plants. You start adding too much compost, the plants get weak. They grow fast and green and bright, and then they start getting eaten by insects. Yeah. The mulch is best, definitely. My guru Fukuoka, he told us one thing which is very, very important, and that is that you know, he said to us, only fool will understand natural farming. The word for fool in Japanese is a baka. So he said only baka will understand. If you're clever, if you're strategic, this won't happen. You know, because your strategy comes out from just, you know, thoughts and knowledge, and that's all information from the past. It's something very alive. So be a fool. Return organic matter. Value all the gifts of Mother Nature and create community with celebration, education, and your particular colors, and there will be a renaissance of well-being through honoring local food, because we undermine all the aspects of industrialization. It's something so easy to do, and yet, you know, it's kind of quite complicated. It's unlearning, you know, it's a movement, it's a shift of values. That's what it is. The food in the cafe is much better than my talk. So please, please have a lunch, and please experience that if you haven't already eaten here. And yeah, we are here doing stuff, trying to rock the show. So thanks so much for coming and sharing with me. Thank you.